What's going on, world? Today is the N.B.B. Defender Special. I'm Brookzilla, and today with me we have got Defiance,
What's going on, guys?
we've got Wolfbuster,
Yo.
and we've even got a special guest today, Shadow.
Hell Shadow at your service.
And so obviously, as it states, we are going to be talking about the new series of Defenders, and so we can crack on a little bit because, what was kind of everyone expecting from the series itself?
I was just expecting it to be longer, more than 8 episodes. That's my only... I thought they could have done more with it. As all the other Netflix series were 13 episodes, I was expecting the same. For them to drag it out a bit more, go play a bit about with the story. Don't get me wrong, it was a good series, I enjoyed it. But I expected more. That's all really.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. Because maybe it would have been better for them to make this 13, but then the Daredevil, Jessica Jones and all the rest of them, make them 8 episodes. Because sometimes they feel like there's a couple of episodes where they're dragging on.
Yeah.
And they're not, moving the story.
But do you find, because for me, I get what you're saying, but I kind of found the tempo at times, if it was longer, would we have not thought the same thing? Because it was still kind of slow but quick, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
I do
'cause
understand.
do you know what I mean? With the adaptation of making them all kind of 8 episodes, or 13, sorry, and having this as 13, I found it got a bit tedious with the others.
Yeah.
Daredevil initially was, because it was kind of fresh. Jessica Jones was cool, but Daredevil was fresh because it was just grey. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, with the others, as they kind of came on, I felt like it just really slowed it down. So I think, I don't know. I'm not quite too sure if I'm honest, because, I think as what they've done kind of allowed them to get what they wanted out and just kind of roll with it. So I don't know if it's because we feel kind of ripped off because we wanted more.
Yeah, because we were used to the 13. Maybe if they made it 10, or say, okay, it's going to be 10 for all of them now, or...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to structure it, but it was good for 8 episodes. I enjoyed it, at least, anyway.
Shadow, did you enjoy it, or...?
Well, obviously leave this point to the end, but that's one of my biggest problems with the series. It's too short. There's way too much. You can even see it when you watch it. There's way too much content. There's straight up episodes that could have been there. I'll mention it towards the end. One of my big things I felt could have been in the series. Just the episode I did.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel. Well, I think personally, Game of Thrones this season has the same problem, because it's 7 episodes. You burn from them quick. There was every single episode I watched of Defenders was, before I knew it, it's over. And Game of Thrones is having that same problem, where it's it's already over. I burned through the first 4, then took a break, and then came back to hours later. The first 4 I burned in 3 hours something, and it was just I looked at the clock, finished 4 episodes, looked back, 3 hours are gone, and it was just it just felt weird.
Was it? Do you reckon with it saying feeling weird and how it's gone quick? Do you feel that they didn't entice you into it as well as because in the sense of, because if you think of some of the other ones, you're sitting there and they feel kind of long-winded, but not long-winded, but because you're into it. Was it because the expectations were not necessarily met?
I think with this, it's you didn't have to watch Iron Fist to watch this, because they introduce all the characters and they're slowly interwoven, and they go from, at the start you see is it Elektra fighting Danny Rand, and they're in the sewer, and then it switches to Luke Cage, and then when they did the transitions, it was each person's colour that you associate with them, the whole mood and the lens, everything was associated with them. So it was yellow for Luke Cage, red for Daredevil, purple and blues for Jessica Jones. I thought that was really good for people who haven't seen the series before. I think maybe they did cater too much for them, but at the same time you can see why they did it, because they're trying to get everyone to watch it.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Because the thing is, as you're saying, that might have, because I think from, as you're saying, in the first few, again, I was a bit. It was only the second half where I really kind of tuned in a bit more.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I mean, I was like, okay, to see where they're rolling, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't make my personal opinion is it felt like how to put it, the DC films, you know, where we're saying about where on previous podcasts where they're not an origin or but an because like you're saying we're interwoven and explaining that because they feel like they've got to reintroduce the characters again.
Oh, you mean when they do like a previously on?
Yeah,
this happened and that happened.
They could have done that in like a minute or so. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm sure everybody's up to date that's watching it, you know, and like now, even like what's going on here. This is a prime example. See, look, they're talking about Diamondback. They're talking about everything that happened on the previous ones.
Yeah.
But we all know what happened with Diamondback and Shades and stuff like that because you've watched it. Do you know what I mean? And this was kind of like. I don't know, I feel like it was just dragging its heels a little to rope you in to maybe possibly, again, get a second season out of it.
Okay, well for me, I felt I liked this kind of, they didn't waste too many episodes on it.
Yeah.
And it did feel naturally, but I also think it was like they're trying to reset the Iron Fist. Because throughout this show, his character's a hell of a lot better than it was in his own TV series.
Oh, definitely.
And a lot of people didn't like it or didn't watch that series. So this is like the reset for that character. And like even Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Daredevil. So I did like that aspect. But yeah, I can definitely see what you're saying.
So do you reckon Iron Fist was worse then?
I don't think he was the worst. He went through a lot of character development and his character's a lot better now. It's just his fight scenes that were a bit disappointing. For him being a disciple of Kung-Lan and trained with the monks and put his fist through a dragon's heart, molten heart, whatever, you expected his fighting scenes or his fighting style to be a lot better. A lot better, not a lot better than Daredevil's, but on par, maybe a little bit more. And I was expecting both fists to be glowing and not just one. I don't think he has the full control over the Iron Fist yet, but I think that's something they might incorporate into season 2 of Iron Fist when they do it. But I'm happy with what they've done. It's an improvement on last season.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. What do you reckon, Shada?
Fully agree. Iron Fist felt like a character this time around. His own series, his own origin, it was weak at best. There was only one major fight even worth mentioning, and that was literally the Drunken Master fight. All the other fights, even the fight with the RZA, for fuck's sake, someone who's known to do that type of shit, felt weak. Like, there was a couple, like, it was structured like a tournament, like something you would see in like an old Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan film. But every time they fought, it was like, it had a hint of style and substance to it, and then just quickly finished. Like, literally the final fight, he wins undisputedly, and Madame Gao just cheats and goes forfeit to save the girl or whatever. And then he does that and he walks out, and that's the end of this episode. So, getting back to Defenders, I've heard, like, he's the weakest character in it. No, he's not the weakest. I just don't think he stands out too much, considering he's literally the focus. He's the key. It all depends on him. And when it comes down to it...
He felt more like a side character.
Agreed.
Daredevil was the predominant one. Because I just a food for thought here. Because you see how the development in the series of Iron Fist, I honestly feel like they could have changed it. Because Daredevil could have been a bit more development, because that is character kind of driven. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With Iron Fist, they could have done it how they started off with Daredevil. Do you get what I mean? Like, just literally off the bat, right away. Do you know what I mean? Really work on the fight scenes, especially. Do you know what I mean? It's like they had it so well straight away from Daredevil. So things like they've kind of got it a bit, in my mind, is a bit skewed in the ways that they've presented the characters.
Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Because I really feel like if they changed it the other way around with massive highly well done, well orchestrated, fight scenes from how they did it with Daredevil with Iron Fist, it would have stood out a lot more because like everything, it would have stood out and it just would have worked well. The guy who they've got playing Danny Rand, I just don't see him as he's not a great actor.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Like less talking, more fighting. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it probably would have suited a lot better. That's just my personal opinion because I don't know. I just really didn't like him.
Oh, okay. Well, this time around, I thought it was a lot better because he wasn't the whiny rich boy. In like he was in in his own series.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's the scene where Luke Cage just assumed he's just just a rich white boy.
Yeah.
But he's only really had the money for how long? You know what I mean? Because
probably about a year, not even that. Maybe.
Yeah. So and look how he dresses and stuff, and even how like the helicopter he was in, like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure if we pulled our money, we'd be able to like rent that for like, you know what I mean?
A day.
You know what I mean?
If we're lucky.
But like, he didn't like, you know what I mean? He's not showy. He's not like, flashing his cash about and all that. But I do like how they have sort of fleshed out his character so you know what he's about. He's more focused. He's got the mission. He wants to stop the Hand. So that's his thing. Whereas Luke Cage, he comes out of prison. The first thing he wants to do is find out what's happening with Harlem. Because that's his place. He wants to know what's going on. And obviously Jessica Jones is just a drunk and she's like, she's okay with plodding on through life.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that Matt Murdock was no longer Daredevil now. He'd given it up because he didn't want to put his friends and those closest towards him like in harm and all that. So that I kind of did like that. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was kind of good.
I mean, it is true. So okay, out of like the 4 series, what's everyone take? Like who for them was the series and even the Defenders for them? Who was like the most predominant and favorite character out of the lot? Because that's one that's got. Because I mean, it's again. I'm gonna be for me personally. I'll give it. For me, it was Daredevil.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Because it was okay, and I'll break down why each of them were kind of, like okay. So Jessica Jones had a bucket, and there's too much like Sex in the City. That series in my mind. I'm sorry, but Luke Cage was just basically Shaft. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
and it just got real corny. And the fight with Diamondback, it just got like that suit just looked like something. His power suit just looked like something from a throwback. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was
it reminded me of Iron Man 1, that when he came out of the cave and he had that makeshift temporary armour.
Even that was better than that. Like, no, this is something like, you know, you'd make up as a kid. You'd find like your parents' jacket and some random freaking helmet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it just really, the whole thing just came across as cheap, and then it was just really corny, throwing back like them fighting and then back to their past about boxing and stuff like that. And then you didn't see nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? It just got real corny real quick. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then Iron Fist was just a prissy bitch. Sorry to say. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just. And I find Daredevil kind of got that way, but what helped was the characters they had. The guy who played freaking Kingpin, do you know what I mean? I can never remember his name, but he's
Vincent D'Onofrio, innit?
Yes, and he is an immense actor. You've got my man who played freaking Punisher, who was in, again, a crap load of stuff where it was, he's a nutcase, and he suited Punisher's role very well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel that was the most together, and that initially gave me a new level of respect for Daredevil, because obviously after the freaking Ben Affleck movie, do you know what I mean? Like that just completely ruined it. But this kind of brought back for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think out of it, he was kind of my favorite. You know, and even with the fight scenes in Defenders, like he was really pushed forward as the most dominant. Do you know what I mean? Out of the rest.
Yeah, he seemed like he was, because he's a veteran, isn't it? He's done it longer than they have. He's fought the Hand multiple times. He knows what he's getting into. That's why I did like the scene where he said, when Stick's introduced, and he's like, I'm done. I don't really care.
Yeah.
You can't trust Stick.
Yeah.
For now, we should help each other, but you know, they all don't really want to be there together. But
well, obviously, like after my little rant, what is your guys' kind of?
Well, I don't have a favourite. I really don't have a favourite. I like the Jessica Jones series because it was totally different to Daredevil. She's not a martial artist. She is just a normal person who is plodding along through life and is okay with it. But also, she was a victim, and she's struggling to come to terms with it. She's got all this power, and she doesn't want to be a hero at all. She's different to Daredevil. She doesn't want to go and save people. Yeah, she is a PI.
Yeah.
But she is not trying to put on a suit and go rescue people. She's completely different. Whereas
she doesn't even want to hear the word hero associated with her.
Exactly. And so does Luke Cage, don't like that term either.
He even said it, that's your word, not mine.
Yeah, there's a whole episode, I think it's called Hate for Hero or whatever it is. Yeah. So that was really good. But yeah, Luke Cage, maybe, I think in the Defenders, they needed to go back to, he is a brawler, but he does know boxing and stuff. Because in his own series, you see him boxing, and he said, you know, he knew about that. He was a Marine and all this stuff. I mean, I understand that he doesn't want to kill people and that. He doesn't know how to control his strength. But at the same time, he's got to learn that he's got to be able to put people down quick.
Yeah, Stick said the same thing, that you were in prison and you still not got over that. If you actually let yourself go, you'd be stronger. But for some reason, Luke Cage got tossed about quite a bit this season in this series. He kept getting tossed about everywhere. I mean, Elektra punched him once and he went flying.
Yeah.
There was quite a few times I was thinking, he's supposed to be indestructible. His skin is not supposed to be taking damage. I get it when Stick made him inhale the fumes, that that's the one way he can be affected. But from the outside, they shouldn't even be able to make him budge that much. But yet he got tossed across rooms. He kept getting knocked out, and it was a little bit. I think they downplayed him a little bit to make him on the same level as the other characters.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah,
okay.
I think they just more wanted to humanise him, because the problem what would have happened was I think it's not just humanise him, but literally take it to the aspect of bring it down to a level, like as you said, Wolfbuster, of everyone else. Do you know what I mean? And I think it is really kind of bring it back down to a sense of where what's the word for it? Because you think these guys are not on Avengers levels, so they don't want it to be a Hulk-esque or Captain America-esque. They just want to kind of hold it back down to be a bit more
realistic.
Grounded.
Realistic,
Street level.
Street level, because like the Defenders are the kind of people, like they say, you see on road. Do you know what I mean? Like they all have their boroughs that they are around, that people know them, because same like, you know, like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like the thing is, they're there on the ground. Do you know what I mean? Like Avengers are doing some buck wild crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So I think
they go into space, they cross dimensions, they go up. They do. They're extreme.
Rick and Morty style.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, no, I think it is a decent way to do it, but yet you still kind of feel that something more's gonna come out, because this kind of me feels like a lot's been left unfinished.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You know, like they've really left it people to really kick off, and then if they're gonna leave it for a year, depends what they're gonna throw in between. They've got to have something in between that to keep people kind of moving along, because when you think about winter, I can't believe I said winter is coming. No, but around winter time and stuff like that is when you've got your TV shows. Do you know what I mean? So I think they might get away with kind of leaving that gap, but I think with everything that's coming out, movies wise, you know, your TV shows, you kind of run the risk of just people kind of forgetting, because that's why I think for me it's just like with all of the series that they did, like even with kind of Jessica Jones and Daredevil, they're the prominent two that were first few that were done. You kind of just to the back of your mind.
Yeah.
You know, like you kind of just got what's the word for it? Yeah, it's kind of got left back. Do you know what I mean? And you know, it's keeping it fresh, because this is a series. If kept fresh, it will be freaking amazing.
I sorry to cut you off there. I don't think we're going to get another Defenders for at least 2 years, more or less. And we're not going to get another Daredevil as well. What they might do, they'll probably add another season for Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. To, one, build up their fan base. Two, flesh out their stories a bit more from what's happened afterwards. And obviously Daredevil has already had a second season. They're going to give him a bit of a rest. If he does get a third season, it will be the aftermath of what we've just seen. So him waking up at the church bed. Is he himself? Has he had the substance in him? Or how did he escape? Who helped him escape? We all think it might be Elektra, but we don't know. Madame Gao was still down there herself, and
she ain't dead.
Yeah, she ain't gonna die. I mean, 3 of them or 4 of them are already dead. I think the only ones that are left are Madame Gao and it's just her left, really, isn't it? Because the African brother got his head chopped off.
Yep.
Bakuda got his neck sliced and head chopped off as well.
Yep.
The Japanese brother as well got sliced up.
Yeah. See, he's the other one who could possibly be alive, because we only just saw him impaled. Yes, okay, they don't have the immortality anymore or whatever, but we've seen how we saw N.B.B get burned alive and come back like it was nothing. True, he had the substance, but I'm saying like there's people who have actually had worse off and they come back like it's nothing. So it's definitely those two. Well, it's definitely Madame Gao. We're gonna see her. Elektra, she should be, I guess, but we, like I said, could be. They might just be like, nah, she's dead, and then just move on. But as I said, it's just up in the wood right now. So we have 4 possibilities. We obviously know about Daredevil, and the other 3 are ambiguous for the time being. I would definitely say Madame Gao's coming back though, because she is being the most prominent in all the series.
Yeah.
Like, to me, she's the hand.
Yes.
Pretty much all the fingers are dead. So she will be the main hand. Things will run her way.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
If we do get another season of Daredevil, it's going to go super dark, I think. Because for the second time, if Elektra's dead, he's lost his love interest. Yeah, you kind of see he wants to get with Karen, but, you know, she's not really about the lifestyle that he leads. She's a little bit annoying, but she ain't going to accept. She's not going to accept that, because she's going to be worried too much. He's just going to go. He's going to either go full Daredevil, or he's going to do less of the lawyer stuff, and just literally go after any remaining remnants of the hand, and just destroy them.
So if we are talking about what we think season 3 would contain, I think Karen's going to die. I think Kingpin is going to come out of prison. He's going to hire Bullseye, and then Bullseye's going to kill Karen right in front of Matt, and then it's going to be dark as fuck.
Yeah,
that's what I reckon.
I agree with that, but do you know what? I don't think Elektra will be dead either. I think she'll be the one, as you say, that would have pulled him out, dumped him wherever, and then just gone about her business. Do you know what I mean? And pop back out later on, because, I mean, if you're literally gonna like get rid of someone that quick, it really is pretty much not worthwhile. Do you know what I mean? And the other thing is, it's going to be interesting to see how Madame Gao maintains the relationships that she was talking about before, if she is going to come back, you know. And I think they've kind of left it on an edge where it kind of gives everyone enough to, like, conspiracy theorists. It gives you enough to come up with your theories without sounding too crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can, you know...
Yeah, no, I get it.
You can speculate enough.
I think that's one thing that people do enjoy, is making up their theories and speculating, or what might happen, what will happen. It keeps the shows kind of alive, because people can't help but do it. But what was I going to say? One thing I would have liked to see would have been more of a story of the members of the Hand, of it when they were in Kunlun. Because it got explained briefly that they were there, they were part, and then they got banished, but not so much. I would have liked to see maybe a flashback. It doesn't even have to be a long flashback, a couple of minutes, just showing them all there, when they left, because they're all from different time periods, because they've been alive for hundreds of years, from what it seems, or maybe thousands, I don't know, and they've all went back to their countries, and you saw Madame Gal when, I think it was the last episode, when they opened the gate, or the door, sorry, and there were the dragon bones everywhere.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, back in my country, these were flying around everywhere. I would have liked to see, that would have been a perfect time for a flashback right then, to have seen back her country and the dragons flying around everywhere. Because that clearly states she's been alive for a couple of thousand years.
She clearly is the oldest out of all of them. She is one of those ones that seems like, as you say, she's a lot of experience, but she's the smartest out of all of them. Because Sigourney Weaver, as Alexandra, got gassed, but she's the one that she knows. She has way more experience than everybody else, and she's like a cockroach.
She was the last leader before Alexandra took over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she knows enough when to let someone take it and to back off, and then she just keeps coming back. As you say, most prominent throughout all the series, keeps popping up, you know what I mean? She's the one that's more likely to pop out of anyone. She's a cockroach. You cannot kill her.
I would not be surprised if she recruited Kingpin to be a new finger. Because she still needs to keep her influences around the world.
Oh, God.
And he's a guy with connections.
I think I just figured something out.
Go on.
I know who all the members of the new hand are going to be. Diamondback. Steel Serpent.
Yeah.
Who is see his best friend who comes.
Yes, what's his name?
Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Apparently, Thing might be coming back.
Purple Man.
He might actually be coming back, and obviously Daredevil. Yeah, like you said, Kingpin done.
That's a good shout. They've all got history within each other. They're all kind of nemesis.
And they're all the perfect, they are literally the counters to each hero.
Alright.
Every single one.
At least we have this recorded, because this is going to be interesting to see, playing it back later on to see if it happens. Like, at least it's been recorded, and that's a prediction right there.
Yeah.
And it sounds it's the most logical explanation, like, the most logical altogether.
Yeah, like, who else are going to get Turk? You know what I mean? Like, there's no one else to really fill the shoot.
Yeah.
I think you may be right, because at the end of the Iron Fist series, when the Steel Serpent was talking to Danny Rand's friend, the girl,
yeah,
Madame Gal was in the background overhearing the conversation when they were recruiting her. And she did influence him, saying, look, there's another power source out there, blah, blah, blah. And you know his story.
Well, straight up in the comics, his insignia is what she uses. That's her symbol you see throughout the series is literally his logo.
Yeah.
So it's implied that he, like you said, has some influence, and he's gone to take the darker path. He's going to do the same thing he did seeing Doctor Strange, where clearly Bamordo decided to choose the darker path. He wanted to go and separate himself from what he believed was the right path.
Yeah.
So it's just open to interpretation right now, because we've got nothing to go on except for what we've seen, as you said, fan theories and shit like that. So who knows? It's all one book for now. We just have to see how this plays out and hope for the best.
I reckon it's the most logical one too. Like, we'll see as time goes on and see if that's the most prominent one that pops up between the lot, because who else, like you said, there's nothing really else. Do you know what I mean? And are they going to take it to the extreme right away? You know what I mean? Are they going to work on the other series? Like, it just, as you say, it's open to interpretation. It's just in a space now of where it's just like, they've really left people wanting so much more. You know, they've really put it at a point of where it's just like, hey guys, we're just going to dangle a carrot out in front of you and you're never going to be able to get it until we say. Which is cool, you know, but it is literally just like, it's in front of you, but you gotta wait.
If I may interject one moment, if we could go back to what we talked about for season 3 of Daredevil, honestly, I don't even want to talk about Daredevil season 3 right now, because I'm still of the opinion, like, I don't know how you'll feel about it, but they shouldn't have shown him at the end. I wanted them to just be like, he's dead, or supposedly dead, and nothing for the foreseeable future. So they do the next series, they do whatever, and then let's say 1 or 2 years down the line, just before they're about to do this next Defenders, we get some sort of hint that he's coming back. And you could do something like he's now part of the Hand. Because there's a point in the comics where he's like, he literally becomes darker and he literally becomes...
But, yeah.
The leader of the Hand, yeah, he wears the black suit.
But that's what I'm saying, like, I wanted that to be gone. I'm done with the Stark Love of shit. I tolerated for the season, second season, because she was fine. She kind of took away from Punisher. I would have rather seen more Punisher than her. Yeah. But her story was fine. She did what she needed to do. And then in this one, when she's the Black Sky, good. I'm on board. Just a lifeless husk.
That could happen. I mean, we could see the Daredevil joining the Hands, because we pretty much know Punisher Frank Castle will be joining them in the next Defenders series.
See, you say that, but he was going to be in this one.
Yeah, they released a trailer of he's talking, he's walking down that street or wherever it was, or cell or whatever, and then they just went into the Defenders trailer. He weren't even in it.
Didn't even get... Well, he got mentioned once, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to do his own individual series.
I mean, yeah, he's getting his own series. I think it's coming out next year, if I'm not mistaken.
No, November.
November.
Oh, this November, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's literally meant to be the next series. It's just they've said nothing about it, which, to be fair, I prefer. I want to go in cold. I don't want to know, like, every little thing. Like, give us like, a month and a half later, give us a trailer. Or teaser or something. Well, we got a teaser. But give us another official trailer. Say a couple things we need to know. Leave it at that and then run it. That's what you gotta do.
The only thing that you always... what I really feel with why they showed Daredevil is they played the safety card. Because they're probably... Netflix, I see at the moment, are people pleasing. Do you know what I mean? And why show Daredevil? Because they don't want to risk backlash of you've killed him. Do you know what I mean? Like, they want to keep it good and making money. If you show him there,
he's the most popular character.
That just means basically it's open to interpretation, as we've done. You know, and people aren't necessarily going to be felt hard done by. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's like, and it's a shame that like studios take the cop out route, the safety route to you know, do something. Have a pair of balls. You know, I would have much same as you, Shadow, like just seeing him there. Do you know what I mean? Or not seeing him there, but just know
the last shot is literally when you see it fall down.
Yeah, and then just
black.
That's just
it. And then they just cut to everyone like mourning and finding coming to terms with the aftermath.
Yeah.
But with that said, I know exactly why they did it. That's not the issue. The issue is, as you said, people pleasing. People are gonna have theories regardless anyway. Like, people are gonna be pissed off because you showed them.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win either way. I just personally would have preferred if, like I said, you move on now. You show different things. You show people progressing, not taking step backs just to please people. Like, there's a hint at the end, which I think Defiance, do you wanna?
Oh yeah, well basically that extra scene, that's for like hardcore fanboys like me. Basically what happens is when he wakes up, the nurse or whatever, she says, oh, get Maggie, tell her he's awake. Maggie is his mother. Maggie is Sister Maggie. She was in the orphanage he was from.
Yeah.
Damn,
so Agnes orphanage, that's where. Yeah, so when he said Maggie, I was like, oh, he's going to meet his mum. You know what I mean? But I don't know how it's going to go down. So because she says it like that, I don't think he's been resurrected or anything. Because it wouldn't make any sense, because Maggie is not part of the Hand or anything like that. She may have known of Stick and may have helped him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, okay, this is my son, he's capable of this and that. And sort of pushed or eased Stick to finding him. Yeah. And it would be good for them to show that, okay, maybe she has been behind more than meets the eye, you know what I mean? Because she's never really been mentioned. You know about the dad
yeah.
and what he went through. But yeah, that last bit, that was just a fan thing, man. Because if you did not know that, it doesn't mean nothing. We said, like, even if I didn't know, why is she saying get Maggie like it's a, you know what I mean? Or just
Very
tell
true.
them he's away. They wouldn't have just said her name like that.
Specifically,
Yeah.
just to make sure that, I live in the hints as they always do. It's become a big thing with them, man. It's kind of...
It's what Marvel does, and DC. They love dropping these Easter eggs here and there for the hardcore fans to pick up on. It's to cause a discussion for them. As soon as they drop an Easter egg and someone notices it, that's it. It's a topic people are going to talk to about it for a while.
Yeah, it is, and I think it will be. I think that's going to be the biggest one out of everything else. I think even far beyond what's going to be moving forward, like with anyone else's shows. I think that's probably, as you mentioned it now, from it, that's like the biggest thing. It's one of the biggest things. That guess what? It brings everything back to Daredevil again.
Yeah,
if you think about it, it's just so you've had everyone else kind of take centre stage towards the end and kind of look like they're moving forward, and then at the end of it, you just throw it right back at Daredevil.
Yeah, I think they may have done that because maybe they don't know what they want to do in season 3, but at least now they'll have a little starting point.
Yeah.
And then they can just build from there. But with the end scenes, I was just a tiny bit disappointed where, you know, where you see someone perched on top of the rooftop and it's all blacked out?
Yeah.
And then the light comes on him and it's Danny Rand, and now it looks like he's going to be the protector of New York. He's taken over from Daredevil because he respected him and he does feel at fault for his death. I thought he was going to have the headscarf or whatever.
He's going to don the costume,
Because I thought, do you know when, was it in episode 3? At the end of episode 3, they all go to the building and they're all fighting.
Yeah.
And Matt is wearing her head
the scarf.
I thought he was going to take cues from that. That's what I thought. I mean, the suit and that looked alright. Whatever he was wearing, the costume looked alright. Yeah. But when he was perched on top of the bit, I was so expecting him to wear the heads off. That's what I was kind of disappointed with. Because Daredevil was the only one wearing a suit. So it looks weird when they're all standing next to him.
You'd expect a rich millionaire or billionaire, whatever, to try and protect his identity a bit more.
That's the problem.
And he's just out. Look, he's known. His story is famous right now. He's come back after X amount of years of living in the wilderness. I'm guessing that's the story he's told the media. And all eyes are going to be on him. All these events unfolding, people are going to be looking at, right, there's these people fighting. Who are they? They look at Daredevil. They're like, oh yeah, it's just a devil from Hell's Kitchen. They look at Jessica Jones. They know what she's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know who she is. They look at Luke Cage. Look, yeah, Harlem's hero. They know what he's done. Then they'll look at him and they're like, right, why are you here? Who are you? They're going to want to investigate. You'd expect him to protect his identity and his assets. Because it's not just that.
Yeah, but you got to remember, when if you look at how he's been brought into his series, he didn't give a fuck about anything else. His mindset was the hand, and you know what I mean? He didn't care. He had no concept of his money. He didn't care about that. His sole purpose was taking out the hand. So he never thought about protecting his identity. There's been no consideration because that's not he's still a tool for the, do you know what I mean, for fighting the hand.
Yeah, he says it himself. I am the weapon.
He's the weapon, but he has no consideration. Maybe it might come in later on, but initially, with all that, he has nothing. There's nothing that states that he even cares. Do you know what I mean? He even considers his identity. He just knows that's what I was. I want to get that shit back. That's all he wanted, is get it back and then fight the hand at the same time. There was no kind of middle ground. Do you know what I mean? He never cared, because you would have kind of seen it from earlier on, like where you see with freaking, obviously in the Daredevil one, he's tried to cover himself up from early. Do you know what I mean? He's tried to protect his identity from early on. My man, he didn't care. He was out there, the only thing he wants to do is take out the hand, and lucky enough, the only thing that's been lucky is when he's been fighting the hand, it's been more in the shadows. So that's where they've kind of tweaked that out of it as well, because he's never really been in the spotlight when he's been fighting. Everything's been in the sewers, everything's been warehouses, everything's been out the way. So he's gotten lucky. So maybe moving forward, as he's now, going to be the protector of New York, he might consider that. Do you know what I mean? Because he's what's the word for it? He's not inherited, but he's it's annoying when I can't think of that word. Like he's taken on board what he is, a millionaire and a weapon, and I think that's one of the things where it might be moving forward. But initially in that series, he didn't care.
Oh yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but that's why I said I was disappointed, because he's just seen that Daredevil has had to protect those he cares about, because he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to do something, and for them to take the brunt of it all, or die or whatever. So in the series, when they're in the restaurant and they'll look at Danny like you're an idiot because he said, "Oh, it's probably my fault. I rang Colleen to tell her where we are and all this," and obviously they've traced the call to them. He should be making them links like, "Oh, this is why Matt doesn't want everyone to know his identity, because now they can trace the call to Colleen. Maybe she'll be injured."
Yeah.
So that's why I thought at the end he would have the mask, because he would have made them bridges and them links, and then develop more as a character and be like, okay, now I've got to have my Iron Fist and my actual identity two separate. Yeah, I can't have it the same. That's why I was kind of disappointed.
He's still a bit naive in the sense of who he is and what he can do. I mean, it was only a couple of episodes in. He's like, you know what, Luke Cage was right. I do have one more way I can win this war.
Yeah.
And he used his Danny Rand persona to get into Midland Circle. And it was nice. I kind of liked seeing that, because he's like, look, you have all these tools at your disposal, but you don't use them. You're only using what you've relied on for the last 10 or 15 years or however long it's been.
Yeah.
And it was quite nice. But he does still need to keep both parts of his life separate.
Oh, yeah.
Because all it takes is, like Karen said, one reporter to make the links, and that's him exposed, and that's his business gone. Yeah, he owns 51% of the company, but I'm pretty sure his company would crash, people would buy it out, or he would just lose part of the ownership and have pretty much nothing from scratch and be living in the dojo with Colleen.
But I think that's where it shows that he hasn't necessarily been groomed into that. So it would be interesting to see like him, kind of develop that later on. But I think he's just a bit special needs. I just see him as like a bit of the sloth of the group. Hey, you guys. That's how I see him, because he's, like you say, there's things that he should have put together, but yet this buffoon can't, really.
See, I do see where you're coming from, but I like the fact that he's clearly the youngest. Even though he is the key, like Shadow was saying earlier, he's the key to everything. He's the immortal Iron Fist. He is not as experienced as Daredevil, who's fought them for many years, who knows stick, who knows about the chase. He doesn't know any of this stuff. And Luke Cage.
Yeah, you mentioned it. When you're in the restaurant, I've learned more information in the restaurant than he has in the last couple of months.
Exactly. And then you got Luke Cage, who he just wants to protect Harlem. He hasn't thought about the general scheme of things. And Jessica Jones just don't give a shit. She walks out in one episode, and then she comes back.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're right. Luke Cage said, "I just wanted to protect one kid," and Jessica just wanted to solve one case. That was it. They had no higher plans. But now they've been roped into this world, and the only way out is through.
Yeah, to go through them rather than... I get it. So, with the series in general, like, standout moment for you guys? A standout moment?
For me, personally, I know it might sound weak to everyone else, but it has to be when they all kind of meet each other, the way Luke and Danny meet. In the alleyway. I thought that was a great moment for me.
No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, no, because it was just... Do you know what, for me it was...
Yeah, it's something so small, but so critical to the whole show, the way they all meet.
Yeah. No, I get you, because I enjoyed the bit of them, like, finding out that, they're getting them to clean up freaking bodies. Do you know what I mean? When they're spraying the stuff over the bodies, they're cleaning up dead bodies, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they were both there for different reasons,
yeah.
but... at the same time, for the same reason.
Yeah. No, I get you with that one. That's actually pretty cool.
It was a unique way to bring them together.
Yeah,
They
but
did
yeah.
it really nicely.
I did like the fighting and how Danny's trying everything and Luke's just taking it all. And he's like, wait, hold on, why is this not hurting this guy?
Yeah.
And then he just shoves him off, he goes flying. And then when he summons the Iron Fist,
Yeah.
and you see it glowing, and he just clocks him. And then you see Luke go flying, stumble back and be like, oh, that's what it's on about. Okay, let's go. Yeah, man, that was good. That was good.
Another great moment, sorry to interrupt, was the aftermath of that fight when he's putting the ice pack on his face.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened to you? Oh yeah, some kids. I think his fist glowed. And then, what's her name?
Claire.
Yeah, Claire, that's the one, sorry. Yeah, and Claire was like, oh, I know who this is. And then they meet up each other. Well, they meet up with each other. I thought that was another great scene. But
Yeah, I thought it was good for them to link the characters like that because nothing felt forced. Like when Jessica Jones is arrested and she's in the precinct, it makes sense that it'd be Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock, who would come in and represent her. It was just everything just made sense. There wasn't like leaps and bounds of like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why were they here? Yeah, I thought that was written well. I thought it was well written. They linked everything together.
Yeah, and Shadow, what about you, bro?
Off the top of my head, I don't know about standout moment. There's moments that I would rate higher than above others. How they get them together was a nice touch, like you said. Like how with Jessica Jones, Daredevil just comes in and it's just like, I'm your lawyer, don't say anything. And with obviously Iron Fist and Luke Cage, they both came to the same conclusion, just went about different ways, and they meet up for different reasons, not like it's forced. It just happened naturally.
Yeah.
Like each one made perfect sense. Apart from that, there was more. While I would have preferred more of it, just the natural interactions, like when they were just sitting down, just talking.
Yeah.
Just having conversations like normal people. Like they would think each other's weird because of how they handle things or they go about just natural decision making.
Yeah.
And it shows at points how, as you said, a lot of them are reluctant. The only one who really wants to be on board with this team shit is literally the one person who's like, hey, I'm a one-man army and even I need help.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was done. Luke Cage, like you said, one kid just wants to protect Harlem. And Jessica Jones is literally the worst person when it comes to being like a part of all the teams. Like you understand why she's like that, but it still comes across as you know what the situation is. So you might want to just, I don't know, come to terms with it and just be like, let's move this on. As she does, obviously she leaves and then she comes back when she's like, alright, I need to sort this out now.
The realisation.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's what has probably been the whole thing is what they've done well is the sly little people fitting in, like a moment that just popped up with Hogarth as well, who's Danny Rand's family lawyer, who knows Jessica Jones. Everyone knows somebody else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they've slipped that in and it's been really well, you know, it's been really well done. And it's one of those things of where it's probably one of their best one of the best things that they've ever decided to do was roll through Netflix. And what I find now is that where the DC series were freaking amazing, they're starting to take that, and that's just my personal thing because seeing with how they've done all four and the Defenders, I know it's like moaning about some of the stuff, but it's still rolled into one. How they rolled it all together to get this out and to get you to watch it was really well done, you know, like, and they really are starting to take more of the freaking market, which is quite scary.
It's become popular. I told you, it's a mainstream thing at the moment.
Yeah.
But I have to say, one thing I was slightly disappointed in the Defenders was Claire knows all of them. She has helped them out in a medical way. All of them, at some way or another. They should, when they were all together, they should have made at the police station. They should have made like a big deal, like, Claire, you're here. Why are you here? Oh, I know him, and her. But it was nothing. I mean, you saw him at the police station, and Claire was chatting to Colleen, but Foggy and what's her name, Karen, were in the other end of the room. They know each other. I'm surprised they didn't go and talk. Or even with Jessica Jones' friend Trish, they didn't talk because I'm pretty sure they know each other as well.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything. So I was just slightly disappointed in that. I thought they would have made a bigger deal because at the end of the day, I would have thought she would have been the one to have brought them all together. I think everyone thought, yeah, she's going to bring them all together and then that's how they're going to meet. But they didn't, and the way they went about it was actually a lot better and a lot more interesting.
I just think that the group were probably annoyed because she just got roped into Luke Cage. Because she probably did one of the things and just ghosted on everybody and just was hanging around Luke Cage, just all on that penis.
Yeah, well, she tried
to. That's just my kind of crew.
Yeah, she tried to escape that world. She left her job.
Yeah.
She moved away, but every time, whatever she did, she could not escape this world. She is part of it now.
It's going to be interesting to see, and then all I'm saying is, what was interesting was Colleen going to see Misty at the end. No one else did.
No.
Poor thing, got her arm cut off for, the great good.
She's got no one to blame but herself for getting her arm cut off. Yeah, she was doing her job, but she got warned, look, don't come in here, don't approach the scene, it's dangerous. Yeah, she probably helped out, I think it was Claire when she was about to get killed.
Head cut off.
Yeah, but, yeah. She's alive. She should be happy. But the way she reacted, it's just a job. That made me a bit... I don't know. It seemed like she was still a bit salty.
Oh, without a doubt, because the reason she's put in that position is because she loves her job too much.
Yeah.
She needs to know things are different now. You may be a policewoman. You're ground level. This is above that. You need people with powers or people who can fight or whatever. You need a bit more than an average person. And the whole thing with the arm being chopped off, Disney and Marvel, they love that shit. Everyone's got to have their arm chopped off. I know in the comics she does get her arm chopped off and then she gets a cybernetic arm.
Yeah. I'm sure Daniel would help her out with that.
Yeah, I think it's Tony Stark supposed to give it to her. But I thought it'd be good if they, instead of, because obviously they don't know Tony Stark, what if it was that Justin Hammer? Is that the guy from Iron Man 2? Yeah, get him in it, because I like that character for Iron Man 2. I didn't like Iron Man 2, like as a whole, I didn't think. Yeah. But the actual character, maybe if you brought him back, or just another rival to Tony Stark. Because I just thought maybe it'd be too easy if, Downey Jr. just popped up, like, oh, here's a new arm. Like, it wouldn't really make sense because they don't really know each other. I don't know if he does know Danny Rand now because they're both billionaires and they're on that level now.
But I mean, that can happen in the next season if we do get an Iron Fist. You're like, hey, look, I make all this technology. How about a partnership? Like, this and that.
But there was the slight mention of when Colleen was talking to her. There's specialist here. Slight hint. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do understand.
I'm sure we can help you. He owns the hospital. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can see that that's going to be tweaked in at some point. But the thing is like, what cracks me up, and this is the one thing that I find kind of crazy with Marvel in general. There's just no unification, because you've got just an example, X-Men in Jersey, but yet the world hate mutants, right? But then you've got the Defenders, they're vigilantes, we hate them. Not hate them, but they shouldn't really be doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
But you get the Avengers, who are far worse and probably cost $1 billion in damage, as an acceptable thing that work with the government. Like, shouldn't my thing is with the police especially, shouldn't they necessarily be like, okay, these guys have got superpowers, let's probably work with them. Do you know what I mean? Because you've kind of got that mismatch. Because you've got Spider-Man, who's also freaking... Do you know what I mean? Like, you think of the 5 boroughs, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Spider-Man's in Queens, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you've got an out-of-state. All pretty much interlinked, but yet it's so many different worlds. And the thing is, it's just that continuity of, like, I'm sure... because you look at the start when people kind of see what Luke Cage is doing, it's kind of cheering him. Do you know what I mean? People are on board with that. But out of nowhere, it's the change. The vigilantes, they shouldn't be. But I'm sure these guys can do some serious stuff, people will be on board with that. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying the logical sense is if that person ain't doing nothing bad, we're going to be on board with it. You know what I mean? Because at least within DC's kind of world,
Yeah.
everyone kind of has the same, it's all on the same page politically as well as how it interacts with police. You know what I mean? Thinking of what is a word for police, but you know, with the police, like with the
Law enforcement, yeah.
law enforcement. Do you know what I mean? It's just that kind of shame because who wouldn't want the defenders to?
Yeah, help out the law.
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because if these guys are doing something, I'm sure in your mind you're gonna be thinking, okay, you had Avengers doing some stuff. Do you know what I mean? And if these guys are saying something, you kind of would take it on board. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of your job or not. Which works well for Misty, but then her boss, he's kind of, I don't know. For me, I can't quite put the words to it, but it was just a bit lackluster. If that makes sense, not lackluster, but it just
No,
didn't
I can see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of didn't all tie in together for me, you know. So, but again, other than that, for me, as is, it was cool. Kind of let down a little, but I hate to say it, I'll probably watch it again. I'm that kind of person. I probably will end up watching the series again, or when the new one comes out, watching that as well.
Oh, okay,
You
yeah.
know,
I
even
get it.
though I was kind of a bit with it, you know.
I mean, I've got people that don't watch any of the Marvel Netflix series, so I'll probably sit down with them and watch them all again. Yeah.
Try and tie them in and get them to watch it.
Yeah,
'Cause
pretty much. I mean, I've done them with like other series like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so why not this?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it makes sense. The only one thing I have to point out as well is why do we never see in the skyline the Avengers Tower?
It's not. Is it Avengers Tower still?
But even if it's not, you would still.
It's Star Tower / Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, it would.
I
still
thought
be.
because they moved the base, isn't it?
Yeah,
Avengers.
they've moved to a separate facility now.
But yet the tower's not gone.
Yeah,
The tower-
They
still-
wouldn't
yeah.
take no, and this is what I'm saying. The tower wouldn't have been taken down. What I'm saying is, like, this is just something really fucking sneaky of me. I apologize, but it was just like for continuity, because you think they're within those boroughs of New York, and the Manhattan skyline is one of the most prominent things. You know what I mean? In New York,
Yeah.
where Stark Tower or the Avengers Tower was, like, they wouldn't have taken it down. They just, do you know what I mean? We would be able to freaking clock that because that was one of the biggest.
I got 2 words for you. The incident. That's literally what it is. They don't ever address anything from the movies by name. It's always that big green guy, that billionaire armored flying dude, or was it?
The
Or
dude with the hammer.
the guy with the hammer. They never once address anything. So if we're in a weird situation with the Netflix shows where it's same universe, but it's not at the same time. It's like, think of it this way. There's one timeline for everything Marvel right now. And it's split to 5. Because you have Sony with Spider-Man, you have Fox with X-Men and...
Deadpool and yeah.
Well, X-Men they count. And Fantastic Four. You have this Netflix series, or like this Marvel TV series. And you have like the cinematic universe. So, and then you have what the 5th one would obviously be whatever lies elsewhere, like outside of the jurisdiction. So how it works is because they have split up, each person has split up the pie. There's something you can't do. Like, to bring up another point you made about like the X-Men, like what you got about why are they prejudiced, because you gotta understand, in the comics, yeah, it doesn't make sense why X-Men are prejudiced when it's like they team up with the Avengers, they team up with the Defenders. Like every superhero in the comic universe is in like 5 different teams. They're always teaming up. They're always around. So the idea of someone going, I hate people with special powers, is like, dude, there's a special power person literally down the street. Everywhere you look, there's someone. You should be used to this. You should accept this. There's always going to be bigots.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about that. But it should just be common knowledge, and it should just be mildly accepted. Whereas the reason why it works in the cinematic universe is because in Fox's universe, it's just X-Men.
Yeah, they've got nothing else.
They got nothing else. They got no frame of reference. So there is no Spider-Man. There is no Avengers. There is no. There's none of this. People with powers saving the day. They just see it as it's a mutation. It's a disease. Because the whole point of X-Men is the gay agenda. That's just where it is. It's just, instead of having that, let's just have people who are different, who can do odd, peculiar things that might save you or might kill you. And it's the idea of the realization of today's enemy could be tomorrow's friend. Yeah, it's that realization, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because as a whole, Cinematic Universe is fine for what it is, but as you said, the continuity is all over the place. The Netflix series, as you were saying near the start, they're trying to run back certain things because of Iron Fist, and it did come across like they almost don't want to acknowledge Iron Fist happened.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they have the key points, but it's like you literally, like we probably all agree, you could literally take away that series, and nothing would really be different. Like, if this was the first time we saw Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Obviously, it had to be a bit more grandeur. You can't just have some dude finding the sewer and it's just like, oh, that's Iron Fist. You would have to do something more, like I said, more grandeur and, like, explosive to introduce the character. But it still came across in the sense that, as a group, as a whole, we've seen the stories, we've been told, that's why they had to do what they did. Because, yeah, you could, as you said, where you point out the fact that they had to run back a lot of the acknowledgement, like, this is who they are, this is what they've been through, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You gotta do that for the new people. You gotta do it for the people who are just like, well, I don't know about any of this stuff, but, Defender sounds interesting. And to one of my biggest complaints with it, how short the series is. There needed to be more. I get why people complain, but at the same time, it's like, dude, this is how it is. This is how it's structured. They've done this 4 times before, yeah? 13 episodes. Why do they now have to change it now for the freaking crossover? The crossover, as Defiant said earlier, should have been the one that had 13 episodes. If everything was 10, because you could, but I'm being perfectly honest, you could definitely take a lot of scenes from all the other ones. No matter how great Daredevil is, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, you could definitely take away certain sections, like certain parts, and yeah, you would probably cut it down to by like 2-3 episodes easily. So yeah, 10 episodes, and then go to 13 for the big finale. Because because we're kind of wrapping up, I'll bring up this point now. This is an episode I think should have happened. This is my synopsis. This is what they should have done. So the previous episode, ends on a cliffhanger of they're separated. They're trapped in different locations. Yeah. Right? It's a twist though. You do something no one's expecting. Everyone's expecting Iron Fist, Luke Cage. Everyone's expecting Jessica Jones and Daredevil. No. You have Iron Fist and Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Luke Cage. People who would not really team up, who have drastic different ideals and like how they go about things. Yeah. See what happens. It's the idea of like, could it be a ticking time bomb? Could it work? And the entire episode is they all have to work together. They all have to get out of the situation. And by the end of it, they all escape or whatever. They all meet back up to deal with whatever threat it is. Yeah. And that could have been a full episode. And I would have enjoyed to see that because it's a dynamic no one's expecting that we don't see for the series. Because we obviously, Luke Cage knows Jessica Jones. But that's about it. No one else really knows anyone else. It's just really those two. Everyone else knows like, oh, like Daredevil gets mentioned a lot in the other series because they know about it. They know about the Devil Hell's Kitchen. Obviously, Jessica Jones gets mentioned because of the aftermath. Like what happened towards the end when she obviously kills Kilgrave. Yeah. And with Luke Cage, obviously what happens in Harlem because obviously a bunch of stuff happens. So it makes sense. But on a whole, I don't know, there's definitely something lacking, like I said. Like, it's definitely too short. There should have been more, for starters. And there should have been more action. Definitely. A lot of talking, which is fine. Establish what you need to establish. But there should have been more focus. And it did come across as it's nowhere near the levels, I'm going to point this out, of the recent Fantastic Four. Whereas you don't believe for 1 second they're a team or family. They are 4 complete strangers. You have no belief in them whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, yes, you believe they're a team, but you also they're mismatched. So you're like, yeah, they're dysfunctional. They're all over the place. Like Daredevil is the first person to run off when they're about to fight. Our Stick tells them stick together was stay alive. You kind of know why, because he's like, why would I listen to Stick and also Electro? But throughout the series, it definitely came across as Daredevil was the one kind of lacking, and it's like he's meant to be the leader. He's the one that should be in charge or whatever, and it showed for moments. It just showed that the fact that they are all inexperienced. Obviously, some more than others. But the lack of dynamic as a team needed to be shown a bit more and it should have been addressed a bit more, just to improve it.
Yeah, I just think that's because it's the first one. If they're all a great team from the get-go, that's bullshit. Like, I know like you lot are saying that, all superheroes or people with powers should be seen as equals. They're not. Like, look at even today's society. The reason why this show is good, or like some people do hate it, is because it takes what goes on today and puts it on there. Like, mutants were born with this stuff. All those other guys with powers, they were either forced with it, they got it. Completely different things. Even though, everyone's got different abilities, it's not the same thing. Sort of like with the Avengers, they're seen as more godlike. They're above the average chump like Luke Cage. You don't put him on the same pedestal.
Yeah.
They're two different things. It's like people do it with bloody footballers or their favourite. They're completely different. That's why I like the series. My only problem with the series, me personally, I thought the main villain, even the 5 fingers of the hand, they needed to be more evil, have a better presence. Like Gal, she's great. When they introduced Alexandra, I thought she was great because Gal's scared of her. I was like, why the hell is Gal sort of being really polite, creeping up to her saying, oh, this is what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And then you get glimpses of it, like when she easily takes down Elektra after she's been resurrected. And you think, okay, we're going to see a fight scene or something. They never get to that situation where she actually progresses and you see why they're all afraid of her.
I get what you mean. I was expecting her to be a bit more ruthless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a scene in the restaurant where she corrects the guy, or the guy corrects her saying, oh yeah, Constantinople is the old name.
Yeah.
I was expecting a slap or a head being chopped off or something. There was plenty of scenes to make her seem more evil, more ruthless, or more aggressive. But yes, I guess she's ill and she's dying and she probably doesn't want to exert herself. But to assert her dominance, say, look, I am the leader. Even when she was talking to the other fingers, saying, look, so one day he's been kidnapped. But I thought she would at least put one of them down to assert her leadership. But it was just words. That was all it was. It was just words.
I think that all comes back to when you're saying about maybe a flashback or something, because it all comes down to must have been how they were in Kunlun and how they left and stuff like that. Yeah. Obviously, they've known each other for donkey's years, so I think those kind of the explanations of that maybe could have been. And you got to remember, the reason probably why she wasn't as bait was because she's probably the one that really understands about being in the shadows. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're killing people left, right, and centre, that's bait. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you can have people clear it up, but it's just kind of, I don't know, that's just my perspective on it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I was just going to not to cut you off. The thing I was going to say was, but here's the problem. She straight up literally says to Danny Rand when he shows up, we ain't trying to hide. She spends a lot of the show showing herself. She doesn't really... Here's the biggest problem. She is a puppet master. She's a puppeteer. She controls all the strings. Everyone shook with her. Like when you brought up the scene of in the restaurant, when she corrected, have you noticed, when they're making it, they look shook. Like, oh shit, we fucked this up. We're screwed. So there's tons of those moments. But the problem is she doesn't do anything. Like Sigourney Weaver is unfortunately too good for the role. she's a great actress. She did perfectly. She's intimidating. You believe she's a threat, and you spend a lot of time going, let's see what she's up to. You know what I mean? Like, I want to watch not Sigourney Weaver, Alexandra's doing. You know what I mean? You want to see how she progressed. And as you said, I wanted to see more Ruthless. Because she was about to square off with Murakami. Straight up. And it was implied he wasn't going to win, even with her weakened state. But, of course, cut to something happening off screen, and, the situation's resolved.
Yeah,
and, of course...
Even in the restaurant, when all the heroes are in the restaurant, she just sneaks in and no one noticed her sneak in. She completely disguised her presence. Not even Daredevil managed to hear her heartbeat. She was just there. And she's like, oh, by the way, now you're all here, you formed a bond. I see you formed a bond or whatever. No one heard her sneak in. So she's clearly a great, I wouldn't say spy, but she knows how to get around situations, how to get in situations. She was there. No one expected her to be there. And she easily got out as well, without anyone seeing.
Yeah, she kind of just sneaked off to the side. Yeah.
I think that's kind of their storytelling, and it's the subtle way of showing her strengths. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How she holds the power. But again, there's so many things that we all believe in, all would have liked, and because from what we do to what another set of people who can do is completely. So it's a shame that it's always going to be a hard bridge to cross with any type of series, movies, anything that's been adapted from the comic book format. Graphic novels. It's difficult, and there's only a few that have actually managed to survive and really make it.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those ones that, with the increased amount of time, they will do a lot better, because just as an example from a graphic novel, The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That's not slowed down at all. That's not really slowed down. It's because obviously they're rolling together. But if they do it right, this, in my eyes, The Defenders could be something that could be a long-lasting show. Because it is. It's something that is, as you said, with the Avengers being gods and these are just your everyday people.
Yeah.
That really is something you can relate to, because I think you do kind of get sick and tired of just the world getting smashed up. It's nice to have a bit of a concentrated storyline.
Yeah, because they're on your level rather than
than the thing. So on that note, I think it's been a bit of a epic discussion on The Defenders, and I have to say for myself, Brookzilla, it was a pleasure. And obviously today we've had Wolfbuster.
Yep.
We've had Defiance.
Yeah, it was great, guys.
And with our very special guest, Shadow.
Indeed.
And obviously check out our previous podcast. We're gonna have more coming out, and enjoy the days, guys. Peace out.
Take care.
Later.